Hello, everybody. It's Bill, your host here at Life in Motion and 50-Second Philosophy. I hope you're doing well. It is Friday, May the 8th. Looking forward to the weekend. I'm going to get out a little bit early and just try to spend the weekend resting and relaxing, put all this pandemic stuff out of my head for a few days and just enjoy being alive. I hope you are too. This website that you're watching this on is something that I launched earlier this week, a new project that will grow and develop into some new things in my life, kind of reclaiming some things that I love doing and am passionate about. And if you've been following along, reading some of the posts that I've been making this week, you might be asking yourself, why does he call it 50-Second Philosophy? What's that name mean? It's really pretty simple. I tend to be very long-winded and verbose, whether I'm writing or whether I'm making a video like this, or if I'm speaking from a platform somewhere at a conference. I tend to go on longer than I should to get my point across. And I know we all have shorter attention spans these days. And I wanted to give you something that you could look at and read in less than a minute. And hopefully it would be something that even in such a short period of time would be meaningful to you and something that you could kind of carry with you throughout the day. So that's the idea. Now, from time to time, I'm going to make videos like this, probably just on the weekends. And I can guarantee you they're going to be more than 50 seconds. We're already going on, well, I think 2 minutes right now. So bear with me. Watch these when you have a little more time, and I hope that I can hold your attention and give you something meaningful to think about. This morning, as I was getting ready to start my day, I was thinking about the state of the world that we're all in right now. The state of my life, your life, our life as a nation, as a society, as the human race, and how it feels like everything that was familiar to us 3 months ago has been completely taken away. Everything. Nobody's life is unaffected, at least here in the United States. All of our routines, our systems, our structures, the way we interact with society, our work, our play, our entertainment, our recreation, our income, our sense of placement in the present, our thoughts about the future, it seems as if it's all just been wiped away, right? And we wake up every morning with our entire life being a blank page to some extent, or at least parts of our life being a blank page or a blank canvas. I watched one of my favorite classic movies from the 80s last week, The Never-Ending Story. And if you've seen the movie, you remember that the central theme of the movie is there's this thing sweeping across the world, erasing everything. And it's called the Nothing. The Nothing is just destroying everything and leaving nothing. And to some extent, man, that is the way things feel, at least, from my point of view. It's distressing. It's unsettling and even terrifying to wake up in the morning and realize everything that I knew and understood about life is gone, at least most of it. And I'm not sure what I'm supposed to do with today. I'm not sure what I'm supposed to do with tomorrow. I don't know if I'm ever going to be able to go on a cruise or watch a baseball game in a stadium or earn a living the same way that I used to. Everything that I understood and everything that was familiar to me has been taken away by the nothing. That could explain why so many of us are having very strange, vivid dreams these days. I read about this in the news the other day, how so many people across the country are reporting that they're just having these weird dreams. And so many, and at least my dreams, I'm the same way. And a lot of my dreams are set in periods of my life from the past, years ago, sometimes even decades ago. And I thought that was interesting. But then I read another thing where psychologists are saying that that's pretty common right now because the present is so uninspiring and the future is so uncertain that the only thing our subconscious mind has to hold on to is the past. Interesting. So here we are with blank pages and blank canvases every morning when we wake up. This morning, I began thinking about this a little bit differently, that You know, when you're handed a blank piece of paper or a blank canvas, you have an opportunity to write something that's never been written before. You have an opportunity to paint something that's never been painted, or sketch something, or create something that's never been created before. If somebody takes all of the pages of what you know about life, erases everything on those pages, and then hands them back to you, yeah, everything familiar is gone. And the pages may be a mess from having everything kind of wiped away from them, but now they're blank, and you get to write something new. You get to paint something new. As my mind was going through this morning, it took me back a long time ago to 1986, my senior year in high school. Just as I was getting ready for graduation, my parents decided to buy a farm out in the country. You know, my family always enjoyed the outdoors and nature and having plenty of space. And so, yeah, it was when I was 18 years old that my parents were able to purchase a farm. And I remember when they took my sister and me out to the farm to show it to us for the first time, I was appalled. This was a 100 plus year old farm with a 100 plus year old farmhouse that had been lived on and lived in by an elderly widow who had been alone for probably 20 years, trying to take care of this place all by herself. The yard, the lawns were all completely overgrown. The flower beds were all in disarray and overgrown with weeds. The fields were completely out of control. The house was in terrible disrepair. You know, the siding, the electrical systems, the plumbing, the everything was just a mess. And I remember thinking, I really don't want to move in here. But we did. My parents bought the farm, and we moved in the summer of my senior year. And I remember my parents taking me up to the bedroom area upstairs and letting me pick out the bedroom that I wanted. And I walked in and looked at it, and it was just, it was horrible. I couldn't imagine living in that bedroom. But my dad said, what color do you want the walls to be? I got to pick out a color. It was a weird color, a really bright blue color that I wouldn't pick out now, but I picked out the color of the wall. He said, what color do you want the carpet to be? I picked out the carpet. What kind of ceiling fan do you want? Oh, cool. I get a ceiling fan? Wow, I didn't have a ceiling fan before. And then they went to work with sledgehammers, busting the walls down, ripping out all of the plaster, leaving the walls with nothing but studs and wiring, ripping the carpet off the floor, ripping the ceiling down, pulling out all of the wiring, and then putting it all back together again. All brand new wiring went into the walls. New drywall went up, and it was painted that funky blue color that I wanted. New carpet was put down, the carpet that I picked out. The ceiling fan was installed, the ceiling fan that I picked out. And by the time we were done, my bedroom was exactly the way I wanted it to be, not the way it had been for the past 100 years. And my sister got to do the same thing with her bedroom, and my parents did the same thing with theirs. As they went systematically through the house, completely ripping apart every room and putting it back together exactly the way they wanted it. And by the time we got to the mid-90s and my dad had completely beautifully landscaped and manicured the yard and put in a beautiful lake a few hundred yards away, the house had been completely remodeled. It had become my sanctuary. It had become the place that I escaped to instead of wanting to escape from. By the time we had to sell, or my parents had to sell the farm in 2017 due to my father's illness, it was my paradise. It was where I would escape to every time I needed to escape, to just rest and relax and feel at peace and comfortable. So it was a real grief to me when my parents had to sell that farm. So the point that I'm trying to make here is everything that has been familiar to us for the last 100 years has been completely stripped away. The walls have been busted down, and we are being given an opportunity now to start rebuilding. Blank page, blank slate, whatever analogy you want to use. The life that we knew up until February of this year has, for now, been completely wiped away. A lot of it will come back, and it will be as we remember. but a lot of it is going to be handed to us to rebuild exactly the way we want it. So that's how I'm going into the weekend. From here on out, I'm going to try to maintain that mindset. I still miss a lot, man. I'm still freaked out by everything that's going on, but I'm trying hard to remind myself every day, now is the opportunity. In the absence of everything familiar and everything that was, now is the opportunity to begin creating everything the way I want it to be. You have the same opportunity. I hope that's encouraging to you, because it is to me. All right. It's time for me to get out of here, close down shop. I hope you have a fantastic weekend, and come back here often. Talk to you soon.